You are running Google Ads currently, or you're thinking about doing it anyway, or maybe you're working with someone else who is, and you're seeing quality scores that suck. You're seeing 1s, 2s, and 3s all through the account. Just whatever you're doing is not working, and this is bad news. This is a very bad news for your account. You're going to struggle to find any kind of returns on your investment when you're seeing those 1s, 2s, and 3s. So in this video, I'm going to cover how to solve that for your business. My name is Max Sinclair. I'm founder of Snowball Creations. We do paid ads for a living, so I talk about this stuff all the time, and that's why I'm here to help you to solve this quality score problem, these woes that you have. So let's start. What is the quality score? The quality score is a column that you can add. Hopefully you've already added this, because that's why you're probably thinking about this video is interesting. So you have this quality score column, and it tells you out of 1 to 10, how good are you on that particular keyword. So it's a keyword level thing, not a campaign level or ad group level. It's specifically for keywords. And it says for a particular keyword, like let's say paid ads agency, how good are you on that keyword in Google's eyes? What's the quality of your ad, of everything involved for that specific keyword? So really, really good is 10 out of 10. That's quite rare. You do get it, but it's not very often unless you have everything put into the perfect place, basically. And then 1 out of 10 is like stuff's going very wrong. This is like a big red alert symbols, basically. And like you can technically still find good results with 1s out of 10s, but it's a lot harder. So why are they important? Why is it important to get near that kind of 10 out of 10 quality score? Well, the first thing is that it's basically Google's opinion on when a particular keyword is actually good for that user. So Google is actually quite honest. It's one of the things that I think I like the most about Google compared to, say, Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads or really any other network, is they're the most honest with this. Where, let's say, for example, I'm going to take a keyword that maybe is like paid ads agency, and then I'm going to try and rank my SEO agency at top of position for paid ads agency. So that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because somebody is looking for a paid ads agency. Maybe that's an interesting strategy because you think that people searching for SEO, you could move them over to be interested in paid ads. Maybe that's a strategy. Maybe that would work out. I personally think it's kind of stupid, but that could potentially be a strategy. So maybe you would try and rank on that. But Google wants to give its search users what they're after. It wants to help them solve their problems. Because if Google stops solving customer problems, then ultimately they're going to stop using Google as their search engine. And that's very, very bad news for Google. So it's in Google's interests to make sure that users really do get what they're after. And not just in the natural SEO organic results, but also in the paid ads that they see. So the quality score is their way of summarizing that and making sure that those ads that they see are relevant and correct and actually do solve that problem for that particular customer. So the next step is kind of the diagnosis. So you have these bad quality scores. Hopefully you've got this column. If all these columns things I'm talking about sound like completely alien language, then you may need to switch to the kind of, I always forget the name of it. It's the expert mode, basically, and roughly in the top right area, there's a button to adjust, and then you can see your campaigns. And again, also, if you're just using smart campaigns, you can't see anything really. So you need to use not smart campaigns. There's a whole other video I can link about that. But ultimately, yeah, if you're in the right place, you've hopefully got the quality score column already, and that's why you're probably watching this video. And then you also need to add the quality score hist, so history. So that's the historical view of what your quality score was. You also need to add expected click-through rate, or ex.ctr, and then expect CTR history. So that's the historical version. You need to add ad relevance and the ad relevance history version. And you need to add landing page experience with the landing page experience history version. I'll put a little box here at some point around now, which has a list of those so that you can maybe pause this video and like go and add those columns for yourself. And it's nice to have them in that order, which I just said as well, because it's really the funnel of going through that a user has to go through. And so it's kind of nicer when you're trying to diagnose where is the issue. So let's go through each of these firstly. What do they actually mean? So quality score altogether, of course, it's kind of the aggregate of everything put together, and it's the thing that you're really trying to improve on, improving on all of the rest of them should lead to that quality score improving in general. There is other stuff involved, but that's the best way to try and think about it. And quality score history is helpful because if I go and make a bunch of changes, you watch this video and you're like, great, let's go do X, Y, Z, then ultimately you need to know if that's worked or not. And so quality score history is the Google Ads version of trying to judge that. So if I make a bunch of changes and in a month from now, quality score history is saying 3 out of 10, and then the quality score is now 4 out of 10, you've gone the right direction, you're doing the good things are improving. So whereas if it could be going the wrong direction or it could be staying the same place, so you've not made the right changes that you need to. You do need to give a lot of time though for quality scores to adjust, but that's why history is really helpful. Expected click-through rate. So this is how Google expects people to click through. So click-through rate is really one of the best indicators Google has to judge whether an advert itself is good, and also whether people are resonating with it and it's actually solving that user's problem. Because if somebody doesn't choose to click on an advert, clearly the copy, clearly the intent of that advert is not in line with the user's intent for what they're looking for. So it's a really good signal to say something is not right if the click-through rate is not high. Click-through rate, just to be clear, what percentage of 100 people who see an advert click through that advert? So if it was 10 in 100, that would be a 10% click-through rate. And then there's the historical version of that, exactly the same as the quality score. Ultimately, you're trying to get that to be improving, so it's good to be able to see what it was in the past. Ad relevance, it's really similar to click-through rate. There's not too much difference between them, but they just say it differently. So it's helpful to judge both of those, to judge how good is the advert doing altogether at getting people to click on it and go through and go ahead and deliver on what they're looking for. And then finally, there's the landing page experience. So Google actually does look quite a lot at your own website. It looks at, once someone actually leaves Google and goes to your website, it looks at that page, and because it's a scraping service, it does this all the time with organic SEO as well. And it says, what is the site title of that page? What is the meta description? If we're trying to rank for paid ads agency, does it talk about paid ads agency through that page, or does it talk about SEO or some other kind of topic? So it looks at all of these factors and then it judges that experience. It also looks at how does the user actually engage with it. It looks at things like, does it just go to the page and leave very quickly, which is obviously a bad signal? Do they bounce quickly? So do they leave go to that one page, but then they leave straight away afterwards? These are really good signals for Google to say, is this a good or bad page? So these are I think it's 8 roughly different columns that you should be adding to your system, and that's what they mean. So ultimately, how do we improve on these? So there's 2 kind of main areas that you need to be thinking about. One of them is the adverts, and it's the Google Ads management in general. So this is a huge topic, like this is my entire career basically, but ultimately you want to be thinking of some of the top level stuff. The actual keyword itself, is this a good keyword for you? It can be too broad, for example, if you use broad match, and it's, for example, like just agency. If we just put agency in as a company ourselves, that would go really badly for us because we would be showing up for a million different types of agency searches. Somebody searching for creative agency, SEO agency, like, I don't know, whatever, I can't even think of it, business startup agency or something, whatever you can think of. Infinite number of different types of people searching for all sorts of agencies. And none of those are accurate or correct for us as a company. Whereas paid ads agency is, of course, way more relevant, way more likely for somebody searching for that in a phrase match or exact match to be correct for us as customers. So that's one big way that you can try and improve on everything, is by having much more tight keywords which are going to be more relevant Also, your negative keyword game needs to be important. So even with, say, paid ads agency, someone might be searching how to fire my paid ads agency or why paid ads agencies suck. If they're searching that, then they're probably not going to be customers of ours anytime soon. So we should block some of those keywords like suck. And then that's going to mean that we avoid paying to be in front of those people. And also, we're going to not necessarily pay for being in front of them, but they are going to add to those impressions. And when they don't click on our advert because they're just looking for someone to talk about how much paid ads agencies suck maybe, then ultimately that would lead to our click-through rate reducing. And so, of course, one of the things I just talked about was the expected click-through rate. So if we can improve on that click-through rate, then that's one of the ways that we'll do it, is by being in front of a better audience of people, and this is combined through better keyword game and better negative keyword game. So this is the first step. This is how to improve on the expected click-through rate, and then also the ads themselves. So we generally create 2 responsive search ads nowadays. We work with pinning. It's quite a big topic, so I'm not going to go into detail now, but ultimately you're going to be trying to develop 2 unique adverts, and then you're A/B testing them against each other. Do not optimize automatically, do the optimizations yourself, and you need to give real time for this, likely months to pass to be able to then select a winner. Not always, sometimes it's obvious, but very often it is months that you need to wait. So these are some of the big things that you want to do to help improve on the click-through rate. And to be honest, this is what you're really going to be looking at for the ad relevance too. Of course, the ad relevance is very specifically much more about the actual ad itself. So creating 2 very unique adverts, make sure that you reference the keyword that you're actually trying to target within the main headline 1, and likely create several variations of that and then pin it to number 1. That's some good practice to try and improve on the ad relevance. And then there's the landing page experience. So the basic starting point to this is you basically just want to try and fill your landing page with the right words which are relevant to the keywords you're trying to match. That's the high level of this. So if it was paid ads agency, have that in the site title, have that in the on-page title, in the meta description, throughout the page itself. And then ultimately that is going to help. That's the big things that Google looks at to try and judge if it's correct. Also, just make sure that you're actually giving people what they're after. So if we have a paid ads agency page and it's like, hey, yeah, we can make you some money a little bit sometimes, we're not that good really, then and we don't have any contact form and there's no case studies and it's really ugly, then people will just leave. And so that will make our landing page experience badly too. So that's, again, a huge topic, but ultimately improving on your landing page in general to make it actually give people what they're after and make them satisfied and make them stay on the page for longer and make them fill out a form, etc. All of these factors will improve your landing page experience, as well as just that kind of keyword stuff to kind of add those keywords into the page. The last thing I'd say is kind of the more advanced version of this is to actually create custom, unique landing pages per ad group. So really, you don't need to do it per keyword, just per ad group. Of course, you can't do it much more than per ad group anyway, because it's only at an ad group level that you can change the final path URL. But this is one of the most advanced ways that you can kind of stages that you can get to. I would say though that if you're just starting out, launch the campaign with just the one landing page, get some data, see which keywords are even getting traffic, see which ones start to have some kind of potential, and then look to like go off of that base of them, of say whatever it might be, like 10 different ad groups, for example, and then you can create 10 different landing pages, make each of them have a site title, site meta description, on-page title, etc. All of that be perfect for each of those different ad groups, and accurate to the keyword. And you can go more advanced than that, where maybe if somebody was looking for, let's say they were looking for a e-commerce paid ads agency, then we might make the e-commerce paid ads agency have more case studies that are relevant to e-commerce. Whereas let's say they were looking for a B2B lead gen agency, then we would have more case studies relevant to B2B. So you can actually make the content of the page more appropriate and relevant to the particular keyword itself, so that it's not just the copy that's accurate, but the actual content itself that's more likely to satisfy that particular person's needs. all of this is kind of the roundup fact to think about. All of Google Ads is just how can I optimize this entire flow so that that one keyword that I'm trying to rank for has the perfect advert for that one person's search intent, all the way through to the landing page is the perfect landing page for that person's user intent, and then actually delivers on that product or service in the perfect way for that particular person. So we're really optimizing Google to just try and make it as perfect for the user as we possibly can. So be constantly thinking about what is going to make that user happy, what is going to give that user what they're after, and that is how you're going to get 10 out of 10 quality scores. Last thing I'll say is that it's also a historical thing. So the older the account is, the more your quality scores go up. There is a kind of on-ramp, especially over the first 6 months, where quality scores are just very low. And then over time, say when you get to 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, you get these superstar accounts where you get those 10 out of 10 quality scores so much more easily. So there is a kind of like pay to play kind of situation here as well. I hope this has been helpful. I've gone on a little while for you, but this is quite a big topic. Fingers crossed these factors will help improve your quality score. If you get stuck, please do reach out. I'm always happy to help. We're very good at changing this. We took one client, for example, from about a 2.3% click-through rate to 16% click-through rate average. That kind of stuff really improves the quality scores. Do not use dynamic search ads. That was a real horror story recently. And yeah, otherwise I wish you luck, and I'll see you in another video soon.